Life is a strange thing. Decades unfold, and throughout them, you're forced to make decisions. Where do you go next? Do you stand up for what you believe? Do you follow someone who has more faith in themselves than you do in yourself? Is it worth following your dreams? Is it worth crushing someone else's dreams in order to make your dreams come true? These questions, oddly enough, are explored in Bendy and the Ink Machine. While the indie horror genre often trades gimmicky mystery for genuine depth, Bendy manages to do both, minus the gimmicky part. Bendy's story has always been pretty dope in my book. The gameplay, well, I've never been a fan of fetch quests. Just because I'm partially colorblind does not mean you can treat me like a dog! But when I finally wade my way through Alice's crap, I'm reminded why I play this game. The first 4 chapters were well done from a storytelling standpoint, but were also well within the bounds of the indie horror formula. Key elements like what our character even looks like, whether all of this is real, and how exactly this whole inky studio came to be were kept just out of reach to keep us hooked, eagerly awaiting the next chapter. This is all well and good, but the FNAF vibes were palpable. Until the release of Chapter 5, I was waiting for something really, truly interesting. And then, I got it! BAM! The final boss is defeated, we find ourselves in the rundown apartment of the Harbinger of Chaos who started it all, Joey Drew. But rather than being the spitting image of evil and greed, we're shown a decrepit old man with enough self-awareness to know he made a lifetime of mistakes. This is where Bendy sets itself apart from the FNAFs, the grannies, and the amnesias of the world. And more interesting still, you may recall our last video didn't quite cover all the bases. The hidden messages of chapters 1 through 5 have lots to say about the tragic tale of Joey Drew Studios. So if you're ready to explore the bitter depths of regret, if you're ready to see what true loneliness looks like, then keep your eyes watching and your ears listening. The true sorrow and depth to Bendy was hidden under our noses the entire time. It's not just about what's happening in the studio. It's about why any of this happens at all. It's about Henry. It's about Joey in the crumbling of a crooked man's life. Bendy's about to get real. Sad hidden. Recall from our last Story You Never Knew that after we beat Chapter 5, we're able to replay all the old chapters and find hidden messages on the walls by using the looking glass Alice gave us. The very beginning of Chapter 1 gave us many tally marks, which proved this game is a time loop, specifically a film reel. Chapters 1 and 2 are full of hidden messages contrasting what's already written on the walls. Whether it's jokes like Joey drew nothing, or regrets like I'm sorry buddy written over Boris's picture, it becomes more and more apparent that these messages aren't always meant to help us through the game, but to show states of anger, regret, and bitterness. The next big piece of information comes from the chapter that challenged our attention span. The Harbinger of Fetch Quests, Chapter 3. Turns out Chapter 3, with all its monotony, had even more monotony to throw at us. The section of this chapter with several stories had an elevator to take you up and down, and there's this sweet stairwell. Gotta be fire safe, you know. Anyway, going from bottom to top of this stairwell, we see the words, "Be kind to people on the way up, because you're going to meet the same people on the way down." Collecting all the words and deciphering the message took a solid 45 minutes because you can't move with the dang looking glass! And quite frankly, I was upset. We spent 45 minutes just trying to get a dang proverb? The answer is yes. Minus the lame part. It wasn't until pondering the totality of this game that I realized the meaning of this message. Sure, it's something you might find in a fortune cookie, and yes, it's not exactly a clue to solve the mystery in terms of new information, but what it does do is drive home the point of this game. Throughout Bendy in the Ink Machine, we see time and time again employees complaining about Joey Drew.
But sure no reason for Mr. Drew to be playing off the hand lefty.
Sometimes it's Wally Franks upset he's gotta keep cleaning up the ink. Sometimes it's Susie crying about being replaced by someone who Joey thought was prettier. Sometimes it's Grant complaining about how impossible it is to balance the budget when Joey is filled with so many grandiose and expensive ideas. It's obvious that Joey has spent the last 30 years stepping on toes and burning bridges. And where does it get him? To financial ruin and a lifetime of regret. But let's not forget the ending of this game. When all the clues are pieced together, it's clear that Bendy and the Ink Machine is a film about Joey's crooked empire. Decades worth of sociopathic behavior caused by the blinders of success turned a once beautiful artistic endeavor into a cold, calculated business that treats people like gears in a machine.
If you claim that your failures are because these things are soulless, then damn it, we'll give them a soul. After all, I own thousands of them.
Be kind to people on the way up because you're going to meet the same people on the way down isn't just a lame proverb. It's what Joey learned the hard way. But all was not lost. Although this film we play through is obviously an artistic representation of what happened, it's clear from the cutscene after the credits that the ink machine isn't just a metaphor, it's real. Look, it's right there! Back in the day, this ink machine told animators they were replaceable. It made janitors' jobs impossible. It made the mechanics who built it hate their lives. And yet, here it is. Did you ever wonder how one old decrepit man could create a masterpiece literally on his own? Sure, Joey Drew finally found the cojones to pick up a pen himself, but the pragmatic truth of the matter is that one man cannot make a masterpiece of this magnitude, unless he has a mechanical miracle on his side. This ink machine that lost Joey so much love is now helping him make amends for all the wounds he caused. It's the object that destroyed him, and also the one that made his dreams come true. It's a beautiful tale of something that truly became a nightmare finally being used for its purpose. To create, to entertain, to show the truth behind Joey Drew as a person. Bendy and the Ink Machine is about Joey and all his regrets for how he treated his employees. This film, which is already a miracle considering he made it completely by himself at his age, is his story to those he harmed. It's an interpretive recreation of the past, showing that Joey was an ink monster who dragged those who worked for him down beneath the blackness. And only now is that ink being used to do good. In this film slash video game slash indie horror spectacle, Joey was able to concisely input every detail imaginable to tell the tale of how one man's struggle for success took over the mind of the man himself. By looking even more through the seeing tool, we see several coffins throughout the chapters. Lacey, Bertram, Grant, Norman, Susie. But perhaps the most important coffin isn't a coffin at all, but a hidden outline of one on the cot Henry sleeps on while he's held captive. These coffins, they may represent employees who passed away, but I think it's more likely they represent dead friendships. There's no coffins for Allison or Wally, and there isn't a coffin for Henry. Yet. But Joey can feel that their relationship is strained. It's nearly dead, but not yet set in stone. Henry's coffin portrays this perfectly. Not yet labeled, not yet real, but the outline is already forming. If we look at the proverb again, be kind to people on the way up because you're going to meet the same people on the way down, these names etched on the coffins become that much more haunting. Joey had the pleasure of showing his old friend Henry that he was really, truly sorry. This was no sociopath's tears. This was an authentic gesture from a man who lost his way. But as time passed, friendships burned. Joey could not apologize to everyone because not everyone is still around or even willing to talk to him. These coffins are a hidden nod to those Joey hurt and could no longer express his regrets to. And this is why Bendy surpasses so many other games in the indie horror genre. Because it's real. The harsh truth of greed combined with failure is not an easy one to swallow, but it's one we all need to hear. Joey did not literally meet these people on his way down, but his guilt towards how he acted crosses his mind enough to include them in his masterpiece. In many ways, being haunted with regret is worse than having someone scream at you face to face. It plays endlessly in your head in a way that a brutal conversation does not. This is the reality Joey lives, and it's the tragedy that wrote our beloved Bendy and the Ink Machine. Pretty sad, huh? I mean, it kinda had a happy ending. Anyway, that's my take on Bendy and the Ink Machine's hidden messages. At this point, I'm pretty sure we've covered most of the bases, but if we missed anything, let us know in the comments down below. Besides that, definitely hit that subscriber bell so you get notified as soon as we release our next video, and it's something that's gonna be absolutely soul-crushing. You're not going to want to miss the next one, I promise. But until then, see ya!